Hello, everyone. This is following on from the discussion this morning about the workstream review and the road mapping process. I wanted to present some thoughts about Product Council, its role, where I think that it is facing challenges and some proposed changes, and to garner some reaction from the people there, if at all possible. And so obviously, although I'm the product director, I can't just simply make these changes. I need agreement from the community. So I'm moving right along. I've been very aware that in recent months, product council meetings have become a little stale with declining attendance, with a great focus on workstream readouts where there hasn't been a great deal of development to report because of issues around capacity. And unfortunately, it seems that now much of the Mojaloop community no longer sees attendance at Product Council as a priority. So what I'm trying to do today is explore some of the issues and the current operations, and to make some proposals for changes, and hopefully get some reaction from people. So this is the purpose of Product Council as stated in the various documentation. So ultimately, Product Council is there to support the Mojaloop Foundation's vision and mission, where the vision is for universal financial inclusion, where everyone everywhere can access digital financial services needed to connect to the global economy, the digital economy. And the mission is to increase financial inclusion by empowering organizations, creating interoperable payment systems to enable digital financial services for all. So I take from that the primary purpose of Product Council is therefore, given the mission, to define a product that will meet the needs of the community, product being Mojaloop, and the strategy to deliver that product through the mechanism of work streams that are defined to support that strategy. It's a fairly simple purpose, though difficult to execute. So current operations, well, we have open Product Council meetings. We can review product requirements where they are raised, and they are sometimes adopted or voted on there. We have workstream readouts. We have general discussions. For example, we have workstream leads meetings. We have a product director, me, that maintains the product roadmap and liaises with the community, and takes input from as many people as possible in the development of that roadmap. The activities include product requirement submission, regular review meetings, and in the last PI, we've introduced monthly workstream leads meetings, which have been very successful. That's a change that I think we definitely want to keep on with. And we accept candidate workstream proposals and approvals, and we address community convenings and roadmap updates. All the stuff that you all know and are very familiar with. But we've identified some challenges over the last probably PI and a half, I would say. We've seen a limited diversity in product requirements. There's been a lot of short-termism focused on short-term demands, and there isn't too much talk about mid to long-term strategy. The focus has become too much on those short-term demands and the work streams that are there to deliver them. And as a consequence, in my view, the community voting and engagement have declined, and we need a more dynamic and relevant structure. We need some changes, because we've reached a stage now, as I said earlier today, where I would argue we're approaching feature completeness, even if there's an awful lot of refinement needed. But I think that requires a change in our focus. So here's what I'm going to propose. I propose that we stop holding Product Council weekly meetings in their current form. The weekly meetings will continue, but they'll be focused on three different strands. First of all, knowledge building, streamlined workstream monitoring, and roadmap support and product ideation. If I briefly go through these. First, in knowledge building, I suggest that we have general information sharing and focused webinars really operating in parallel. So there will be regular sessions to educate adopters on Mojaloop's capabilities. We will also hold invitation-only sessions for open discussions. And the reason for the invitation-only sessions is that we have noticed, for example, that some adopters, or certainly from the central bank community, are less willing to share opinions if they view it as a technical subject and they are surrounded by engineers. So we need to make it more friendly, if you like, more warm and friendly and less challenging. And we will also have special interest groups of adopters to share experiences, again, with limited attendance from engineers or from central bankers in that case, for example. In our focus webinars, the workstream leads will be expected to present product features. So as we've had this time around, this PI, we had a great one from dispute management from Promes at Auschwitz. And we also need to, we get discussions in other fora about issues that I think need to be aired within product council. Accounting challenges, for example. There's been significant work on developments of accounting solutions that were sparked by, first of all, the COMESA project, and then most recently by the adoption of Tiger Beetle. And Michael, for example, has suggested that we need to have a clear presentation, clear discussion on how accounting works, not from a technical perspective, but from an accountant's perspective. So for a Mojaloop deployment. Auditing is an issue that's been very active in the DA recently, but I think we need a product focus on that. We need to get a better understanding, particularly from the central bankers or the supervisory element of the central banks, on what they expect from auditing. And finally, another example would be settlement implications faced by complex deployments, where, and I don't just mean multiple schemes into schemes where clearly there are complexities in settlement, but also where there are different types of DFSP or different business functions all connected to a single Mojaloop hub with perhaps on different settlement models and different settlement schedules. And for all of these webinars, I think we will target specific audiences and try and persuade them to participate. And it's not just about somebody, a workstream lead, presenting. It's also intended to be discussion. I was very heartened today, for example, when we were discussing the progress of the Tiger Beetle integration. We had input from attendees at the convening actually talking about how we are going to manage upgrades in that environment. And that's exactly the kind of input we need. And we want people who are willing to share their insights. On workstream monitoring, we will definitely be continuing the monthly workstream leads meetings. You've seen earlier on that on Community Central, we published the results of these workstream leads meetings with a status update from every active workstream. And I think this is an effective way of communicating the workstream progress, not just to the community as a whole, but specifically amongst all of the workstream leads, and which does include some members of the DA, because of the interdependencies between some of the work streams. It's really helpful if people who are not aware of what another work stream is doing can begin to explore the synergies and the interdependencies. Quite separately from that, I want to go back to the mid-PI review format that we used to have. And this will be instead of one of the monthly workstream leads meetings and all the leads being asked to present updates to the entire community rather than just to all of the workstream leads. I think that's a useful checkpoint as a mid-PI function. On roadmap support, I think this is an area where we specifically need to make substantial changes. That we unfortunately have an issue where the roadmap at the moment is being held back somewhat by the short-term needs of adopters and the community. And while that's a good thing, it means that we're not taking a long enough look at changes that are coming in the broader financial community that we need to be aware of. So I'm suggesting that we create a product ideation group. And this will be a set of elected members of the community to join this group. And its purpose will be to identify medium to long-term industry trends and translate them into product requirements. I also propose that we invite recognized thought leaders in this space to speak to the product ideation group. And that might be independent speakers. I mean, we all know who the main speakers in the payment sector are. We can invite them to speak, whether they'd be willing to or not, I don't know, but we need to at least try it. And also speakers from organizations such as BIS, for example, would be very welcome. And there needs to be prioritization. So short term, I think we've got that covered. Medium term, maybe we're fine for PI +2, but PI +3, 4, and on beyond that, we do need support more widely in the development of the roadmap for that time space. And then I think that also the output of that will be the submitting of requirements for community voting. What do I want us to benefit from? What do I want the benefits to be? I think that we'll get increased engagement and attendance by being more dynamic, by actually addressing the community needs, and that will lead to more relevant long-term road mapping and improved decision-making and prioritization. And consequently, the overall benefit for me is a more strategic and focused product council. To summarize the recommendations then, I think product council needs a refresh to stay relevant. So we're going to replace the weekly meetings, or won't change the frequency, but they will change in content. So there'll be knowledge sharing initiatives, there'll be structured workstream monitoring, and an elected ideation group for long-term road mapping. We will continue the WS Leads meetings with the change that we will make one per PI open to the community. And the goal is a more engaged, dynamic, and strategic product council. I've put a link here to the supporting discussion paper. You'll be able to get hold of that when this presentation is shared after this meeting. I'm not expecting you to type in that URL from there. And that, for me, is the stage setting.